Hi everyone, Aidan here with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at the RockyMounts GuideRail here on our 2018 Mazda CX-5. Now the GuideRail is a platform style bike rack capable of holding two bikes in these trays right here. And it's going to be a wheel mounted style, which means we have these wheel hoops on the front and back tires, holding it down and getting a pretty good hold on the bike here. Now this is going to also mean zero frame contact. So it's going to be good for our carbon frame bikes, our alternative frame bikes, and with a 60-pound weight capacity, even good for some of our e-bikes. Now, this is a personal favorite of mine just because of the way it holds it. Everything's really simple, and you have a really far tilt with this rack. So we can pull this handle, tilt the rack down really far, and we get tons of clearance to access the back of our vehicle. Now, of all the bike racks that we've worked with today, we haven't had any issues with any of them not clearing with the Mazda here, just because the hatch is a bit shorter. But I like that you have an excess of room to get back here. There's tons of room if you want to sit down, change your shoes. There's a lot more room to comfortably do it here with this rack because of how far it tilts. So we'll close that back up and we can lift the bike rack back into place. Now that it's locked in place there, we can actually get the bike unloaded. And this is another thing that I really enjoy, is it's really easy to do. Flip these levers up to disengage the ratcheting mechanism, and then, with our hand on the bike here, we can just easily push the arms out from a really good point of easy leverage. Some of the other bike racks that I've worked with, like the Inno tire hold, have a button on the bottom, and it's hard to get as good of leverage from that point just because you have to hold the button and push at the same time. But if you do have shorter arms, it might be easier to just push from the bottom and have everything nice and close. So I'll just go ahead and fold these down and make sure I re-engage that ratcheting mechanism just to make sure it doesn't pop up on its own. You can hear that going now. So that's how we'll secure the bike down. Now with it like this, let's get some measurements, starting with our ground clearance. There's a very significant amount of rise in this rack. So at the back end here, we're going to be getting over 20 inches of ground clearance, like 20 1/4 of an inch. So that's plenty. You're not going to have to worry about bottoming out with this. Any sort of steep driveways or hills, and you'll be just fine. Another thing to consider is the length added. At the back end here, we are adding 29 inches to the back of our CX-5, which isn't too bad. Just keep in mind that it's back there with any sort of parking spots or your garage. But when the bikes are unloaded, we can come to that same handle, fold it upright, and condense that down all the way to 12.5 inches to this back end here. That's much more manageable. So if you are trying to get it pulled in your garage with the door closed, you can maybe do that depending on the space you have. Just be careful when you're doing that. Now down at the bottom, we can see we are working with a 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube here, and it comes with a locking anti-rattle bolt. So everything's going to be stable in the hitch and secure. And overall, the GuideRail is a personal favorite of mine. It's really easy to use, it's very intuitive, and it's going to hold the bikes really well. Overall, it's going to be a great fit for your Mazda here. Thanks for watching.